All right. Hey, gang. Gardner here, Conscious Warrior Coaching. Monday, March 1st. It is here. The new month, new energy, open book. Here we go. New chapter for us as we move forward. Today, this conversation is spurred on by a handful of coaching calls today, actually, all within the same day. Some overseas and one locally right here where I live. And this is the idea of the importance of creating your own Rosetta Stone when it comes to business, and specifically in terms of culture. We hear this term thrown out a lot, company culture, and wisely so. It's an important thing. What is culture? It's, for some of us, I'm sure it means different things. For me, culture is kind of a way of existing. It's kind of the way that we show up, as a business, for example. And I feel it's a step further than that. In creating a company culture is really hinged upon two things: language and rules of engagement. So we, a lot of business coaches, we talk about getting clear on someone's brand foundation, someone's brand essence. What are my cultural tenets? All these terminologies that you hear in modern business. And it's true. We have to get down to the nucleus of what makes the company who it is. What is the essence? And many of the people that I work with are small business owners. They are solopreneurs. They're entrepreneurs. They maybe have, one or two employees, three, sometimes four. That's predominantly the scope that I work in currently. And it's crystal clear that ultimately the company that they're creating is a direct congruence with them as a brand. And so that's why when we throw on terms like, values, finding out someone's core values, what is their value system? What are their deliverables? The mission statements of the world, all this fancy stuff. It has to boil down to the essence of the person behind the brand, the person connected to the company. I have my own with Conscious Warrior Coaching. I have, my warrior code. I have my creed and my compass points and my my shield markers and my virtues and all these things that comprise a blueprint that ultimately gives language. So there's the one thread. So when we do the deep work with clients in understanding what differentiates them, how their company operates, what are their non-negotiables, what are their values, what decisions will they make based upon X, Y, or Z? It comes down to doing the deep work to uncover that. And once you have the language, that blueprint also becomes a rules of engagement. And I want to tell you what I mean by this. So I work with a very, very successful company based out of Calgary. It's called S&T Properties. It's a vacation rental property business, and they have properties all over North America, mostly in Canada, mostly in Alberta and BC. And their team, however, operates all over the world. So we have a Nicaraguan team, we have a Philippine team, and of course, a Calgary team. So I have clients literally scattered all around. And like today, when I hop on calls with them, one of the reasons why this company has grown so successful so quickly too is because they have a stern rules of engagement or a company cultural tenets by which they operate. So if I'm working with a client, one of their employees in Nicaragua, when we're talking, for example, over situations, those guidelines of the company values, if you will, and the tenets of how they're showing up and what they're doing to be of service in that world, therein lies their answers. So it gives a fail-proof bounce back, always to revert to something. We were talking today. It's if a company is built on structure and policies because it's all about setting ourselves up for success, educating a team, this horizontal tide rises all boats. It's like moving together in a unilateral relationship. It comes with systems, procedures, and understanding the values of the decision makers. We had this big discussion today, and at the end, we tied it right back to, well, that's one of our company policies. That is what is ingrained in our own cultural essence as a company. And we must have spent 40 minutes going back and forth around this when the answer was right there, because all we had to do was look at our culture. And that's the beauty. And that's why for a lot of younger, or not younger, age is irrelevant, a lot of people, let's say, starting something or more fresh out of the gate, being clear on setting up who they are, what they stand for, what are their decision makers, right? So how do they make decisions? Do they have a decision matrix? What is that based on in terms of understanding what are their values? What are their moral compass points that guide them in and out of business? What differentiates them? Ultimately, what sets them apart from the competitors? Being clear on that will then add congruence in both the language with which you attract your ideal clients and with which you position yourself out there into the universe for clients and to generate revenue. And internally, it provides a rules of engagement by how you and your team will show up every day. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. So therein lies the importance of creating the Rosetta Stone for your company. What is your unique language, your template, your language template that will be congruent in every podcast you're on, every Facebook Live you're doing about your product, every time you're on a client call, dealing with a complaint issue from an unhappy guest in an Airbnb situation? What are your rules of engagement? This is what the company's built upon. How do you show up in a situation as a team member, as two team members coming at something? How do you show up? Well, what's the cultural tenet that says, what does it mean to be a part of this company? The answer is always there. Do the work and understand that company culture, yes, it's a state of existence. It's a state of being when we show up each and every day at work, and it's hinged upon language and rules of engagement. They create the air of culture within a successful business and, quite honestly, within a successful person, because we are all in the business of ourselves. And my warrior code, for example, can be applied to the business brand. It can be applied to somebody who just wants to live a more authentic, better, happier, joyous, playful, adventurous, loving life. Treat yourself like a business and set yourself up for success. Mad love to the courageous. Love you guys. Find your Rosetta Stone and let it speak.